All right, this is CS 575 Design Analysis of Algorithm final project presentation. My name is Humayun, and with my team members Ketan and Harsh, we'll present you our project numerical integration using parallel programming. As it is better to learn to walk first, then run, we would like to walk you through the basics of parallel programming and then dive deep into the algorithms and techniques we have used for parallel programming paradigm to solve the integral. The presentation today is based on the following contents. It will begin with the introduction, which will talk about the basic foundations of what parallel programming is and how it can be used to solve numerical integration. Then how this amalgamate together to the scope of the project. And we'll talk about different techniques that we are going to use across all the algorithms. In addition to that, Ketan will explain the trapezoidal rule, after which we'll talk more about Gauss-Quadrature method. Harsh will enlighten us with the Monte Carlo technique and as well as Kahan summation algorithm. And last but not the least, the midpoint method. So what is basically parallel programming and how it can help to solve numerical integration? So parallel computing is parallel computing or parallel programming is a type of computation in which many calculations or execution of processes are carried out simultaneously. Large problem can be also often divided into smaller ones, which can then be solved at the same time. And there are different types of parallelism actually. Uh, one of which is bit level parallelism, instruction level, data level, and task level. So the technique that we'll be using for our project is actually the instruction level parallelism. And one of the applications wherein the parallel programming is used is to actually get the maximum throughput of the supercomputers. So one of the image that you can see in the presentation is the Summit, which is actually the supercomputer by the IBM. To get to more detail of it, it's actually called a Summit, or the OLC4 is a supercomputer. It's used for the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, and which is considered as the fastest computer by 2019, capable of 200 petaflops. And Binghamton University also has its own supercomputer, which is called as the Spidey. Now, the scope of this project, like why are we using parallel programming and techniques? So if you see, if we execute the integral that tends from a to b with sin x dx, so if it is done in a single program, then the complete operation takes a lot of time. But in case of multi-threading, the integration being the area that is under the curve can be done in smaller parts, and then the final value can be aggregated together. So to achieve a good speed up, we are using parallel programming with the help of pthreads. Now I would like to ask Ketan to please help us with understanding the trapezoidal rule.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Ketan, and I will explain the trapezoidal rule. So another useful integration rule is the trapezoidal rule. Under this rule, the area under the curve in the graph of sin x by x dx is evaluated by dividing the total area under the curve into little trapezoids rather than rectangles. Simpson's rule is also equivalent to trapezoidal rule. It is actually faster convergence than the trapezoidal rule for functions which are twice continuously differentiable, though not in all specific cases. However, for various classes of rougher functions, the trapezoidal rule has faster convergence in general than Simpson's rule. Moreover, the trapezoidal rule is extremely accurate when periodic functions are integrated over their periods. A similar effect is available for peak functions. For non-periodic functions methods with unequally spaced points such as Gaussian quadrature and Clenshaw-Curtis quadrature are generally far more accurate. Clenshaw-Curtis quadrature can be used by changing variables to express arbitrary integrals in terms of periodic integrals, at which point the trapezoidal rule can be applied accurately. So next slide, please. So as you can see, the graph for trapezoidal's rule, here we have provided the speed up as the program executes the integration, the speed up increases.
Okay, just to add to what Ketan just said, so the speed up is actually the performance of executing the whole program in one thread in comparison with multiple threads. So it's like if you see if a single thread is used to execute, or probably let me rephrase it, if the whole program is run in a single thread, then the time taken is more. Whereas if you see if it is run across 40 threads, then the speed up is actually occurred, or the speed up occurs. That actually is the meaning of the slide. Uh, Next, I would like to talk about the Gauss quadrature method. So in numerical analysis, uh, a quadrature approximation is the definite integral of a function, usually stated as the weighted sum of a function values at a specific points within the domain of integration. That means that the integration is calculated by considering the width or the base as a difference between upper and lower limits, and the height by which calculating the function of that area. So what it does is, so I have an integral supposedly, say, with the lower limit of a to b and f of x. So the f of x is actually the slope of the curve. So my Gauss quadrature method is actually finding the area for every f of x across the curve. After computing, the speed up was achieved is as follows. Like I said earlier, if there are 40 threads, the speed up increases. That is, we can achieve the maximum throughput from the same hardware. Now I would like Harsh to talk some more details about Monte Carlo technique.
Hi, my name is Harsh, and I'll tell you about a more interesting technique, uh, Monte Carlo technique, which basically uses random points to calculate the area of an integration. So as we can see in the slides, random points are taken over the arc of the integration, and its area is calculated, and that area is then aggregated in one, and its average is taken out. So we get an more accurate area of the integration. The most fascinating thing about this integration technique is that the more number of random points we use for this calculation, the more accurate the integration result we get, and that's why it's a very intuitive technique. And the one of the important algorithms used in this technique was the Khan summation, and Ketan will explain the Khan summation algorithm.
Hi. The Khan summation algorithm is also known as a compensated summation or summation with the carry algorithm, is used to minimize the loss of significance in the total result obtained by adding a sequence of finite precision floating point numbers. The idea of the Khan summation algorithm is to compensate for the floating point error by keeping a separate variable to store the running time errors as the arithmetic operations are being performed. Simply summing n numbers in sequence has a worst case error that grows proportional to n for random inputs. But with Khan summation algorithm, the worst case error bound becomes independent of n. So a large number of values can be added with an error that only depends on the floating point precision. So this is the idea of Khan summation. Over to you, Harsh.
Okay, thank you. So as we can see, the speed up of Monte Carlo integration, as we increase the number of threads, the speed of the calculation increases. Uh, the curve of the speed of flatten out around 15 threads, because this integration we tested on a 8-core computer. So basically the hardware, the number of hardware threads we have, that's the actual parallelism we get. And after that, we only get a software parallelism, which the time is shared between the threads. So that's why the speed doesn't increase as we have expected. The next method is the midpoint method, and midpoint method is the most accurate of the quadrature methods used to calculate the integration. In this method, the blocks are created, and the blocks midpoint is used as the point on the integration. So that's why the area of the block which is outside the integration compensates for the area of the integration area of the block which is not getting the integration limit. So that's why midpoint method is more accurate than Gauss quadrature, because it doesn't allow that much space to be left out from the integration calculation. And thank you. That's it from my side.
Yeah, so just to summarize what we just said, so each of the program that we discussed earlier runs with actually 4 parameters. It takes the input as command line arguments, and the first one is the lower limit, the second is the upper limit, the third is the number of samples for which the intervals to be done, and the number of threads. So for instance, if the program to be run is with the below parameters, for instance, say program name space 0, 1, 100 and 10, then the lower limit is 0, the upper limit is 1, the number of samples of n is 100, and the number of p threads or the number of threads is 10. So the program will first divide the samples into the variable that is used for processing parallelly or calculating the number of samples. So n being 100 and the number of threads being 10, so the load on each thread would be n by the number of threads. Now, the first thread is considered as the number of samples equally distributed. So when the first thread, the upper and the lower bound are set, they are recalculated every time. And that's how the area for each is calculated and the final sum is done. That's all we have. Thank you so much.
Thank you.